Rhythm modes. Today I want to explain what the rhythm modes are, a little bit about their history, and why we use them in a Dalcroze education. First, some background. All rhythm in Western music is rooted in the ancient Greek practice of the rhythm modes. These modes, or feet, as poets would call them, grew out of the use of language in literature as promulgated by the Greek masters such as Sophocles, Euripides, and of course Homer. We know that these poets didn't merely recite their work, but rather choreographed, dramatized, and sung their poems, including the great epic poems like Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. In other words, in the practice of the ancient Greek artists, poetry, drama, dance, and music are all linked as one complete art form. Therefore, it's easy to link the metrical feet to musical measures, containing short and long lengths of time and space. The long and short lengths, or sounds, are comparable to half and whole notes, or open and closed note heads. Let me recite the following poem by Longfellow as an example. This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks. Now you can tell why the Greeks like to put melody with their poems, because it just doesn't make too much sense reciting the poem in rhythm without a melody. It follows that Dalcroze principle that melody and rhythm should never be separated. So let me try to sing it this time and see if it makes more artistic sense. This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks. Now let's clarify something and hopefully belay any confusion among the English-speaking Dalcrozians. When working in English literature, the system is somewhat different. Rather than using length of sounds grouped into measures, strong and weak sounds are used. Let me recite the Longfellow poem again, but this time as it would be performed with strong and weak sounds. This is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks, bearded with moss and in garments green, indistinct in the twilight. Stand like druids of old, with voices sad and prophetic. Stand like harpers hoar, with beards that rest on their bosoms. Loud from its rocky caverns, the deep-voiced neighboring ocean speaks, and in accents disconsolate answers the wail of the forest. That approach is much better when reciting the poem, and it is known as accentral syllabic, while the approach to the classical literature is known as quantitative. There are 4 pure rhythm modes that lie at the root of our musical language in the quantitative system. There are 2 modes with 3 sounds known as feet of length 3, and 2 modes with 2 sounds known as feet of length 2. The first of the feet of length 3 is the dactyl, or the dactylic mode. The second is the anapest, or the anapestic mode. The first pattern that is the feet of length 2 is the trochee, or trochee, or the trochaic mode. The second of the feet of length 2 is the iamb, or the iamb, or the iambic mode. Notice that the feet of length 2 patterns may be notated at a ratio of 3:1 or 2:1. Now I'll create a short musical phrase using the patterns, and notice that I'll use both the trochee and the iamb in a 3:1 ratio and in a 2:1 ratio. Dactylic, dactylic, anapest, anapest, dactylic, dactylic, trocheion, dactylic, dactylic, anapest, anapest, dactylic, dactylic, trocheion. The term dactylic is taken from the Greek word for finger, since each finger has a long bone followed by 2 short bones. Anapest, on the other hand, means to strike against. Pest is to strike, and the prefix ana is against. Therefore, the anapest strikes against the dactyl, creating the opposite pattern, which in Greek poetry often served as a substitute pattern when contrast was needed. The term trochee or trochee comes from the Greek word chori or choche, for running, rolling, or dancing, which describes the rhythm well, as you can see from the picture on the left where the two gentlemen are skipping the trochaic pattern. The term iamb or iamb has a variety of theories concerning its origin. One is that its name comes from the Greek mythological god Iambe. Others say that it originated from a type of poem that was first used in Ionia, a region that existed in present-day Turkey during the 7th century before the Common Era. From these four modes, all the other Greek patterns are created simply by combining them or superimposing them. Amphibroch is a perfect example of a superimposed composite pattern. The word means short on both sides. Often, this pattern is performed as a syncopation with an accent on the long sound, but remember, each Greek mode has only one accent, and that accent is always on the crucis of the pattern. Therefore, this pattern is performed as amphibroch, 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 with the short first sound being the stress. Provided here are four examples of horizontal composite modes. These patterns are all feet of length 4. The first is the ditrochee, double crochet. Crochet, 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 crochet. The second diamb, or the double iamb. Iamb, 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 iamb. Quoriamb is a mirror image, and it begins with the crochet. Crochet, iamb, crochet, iamb. While the antispest, remember anapest, to strike against, well, the antispest is striking against the quoriamb, so it'll begin with the iamb. Iamb, crochet, iamb, crochet. So, let me put together the four patterns into a musical phrase to see how they function together. Crochet, crochet, iamb, crochet, 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 iamb, crochet, crochet, iamb, crochet, iamb, 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 crochet, iamb. Naturally, as Dalcrozians, we know that students must first experience the space that exists inside these patterns and between them. This means that they must first listen to and move with each pattern in a variety of ways, and investigate each pattern in a variety of tempi. Students should also experience the physical sensation of each pattern twice as fast and slow, and eventually experience the superimposition of one pattern upon the other. Finally, students must be able to sing rhythm phrases using the pattern names and identify each pattern by name. Only then students will no longer hear rhythm as a string of note values. Which brings us to the whole reason for teaching the Greek modes in the first place. First, rhythm modes are a huge part of our music history. They come from the very root of our musical heritage. Second, the use of the modes opens the ears of the listener to hear with renewed awareness, ready to identify rhythm and to notate it easily. Third, the use of the patterns creates an awareness of the importance of rhythm within the phrase and within an entire composition. Fourth, the use of the modes allows the listener to grasp underlying rhythm patterns that exist inherently in all music composition. Once these patterns are deeply rooted in the body, mind, and spirit of the learner, a new path opens towards vocal and piano improvisation, where repetition and sequence are easily developed, where harmonic rhythm and harmonic progression can more readily grow. For a more in-depth study of the rhythm modes, including the complete historical development and how they became infused into the ancient Roman chants, please reference my latest ebook, Solfège Volume 1. This text is the first in a series called Pursuing a Jaques-Dalcroze Education, which will include 3 volumes on solfège, 1 on plastique animé, another on improvisation, and finally another on eurythmics. If you have an Apple product, you can download your copy of this text on iTunes in the iBook store. If, however, you have a Windows product, you can go to jstevenson.cells.com and download a copy of it from that website. Don't hesitate to contact me with any questions about Jaques-Dalcroze Education anytime. Remember, as a diplômé of the method Jaques-Dalcroze, It is my mission, and in fact my responsibility, to assist any musician to pursue their path toward a Jaques-Dalcroze education. Thank you for your continued support, and please keep the comments and ideas coming.